Right, West Coast. Welcome back. It is 34 minutes after 9 o'clock, and this is, I didn't have a lot of setup time for it because I almost forgot all about it. Got an email on the weekend, and Don Staniford is in town as part of, a bit of a movement. Thanks for joining us, Don. First of all, if people want to read along at home, they can visit SalmonAreSacred.org is the website. But what you doing in town, Don?
We're trying to rally the troops and get skippers and paddlers for what we're calling a paddle for wild salmon. In October, we're leaving Hope with a big event, Hope for Wild Salmon. Mm-hmm. We're migrating down the Fraser River to Vancouver for a big flotilla march and rally on the 25th of October. This is a follow-up to Alexandra Morton's Get Out migration, which saw 6,000 people in Victoria in May, mm-hmm. the 500-kilometer walk down the island. So this time we're getting in kayaks and canoes. We have spaces for over 100 people in Voyager canoes. Yep. First Nations leaders are on board, Grand Chief Stuart Phillip, Finn Donnelly MP, politicians, and the message is that people need to pull together. We're all in the same boat. We need to set our differences aside and literally pull together for wild salmon. We're also encouraging people to come across the Georgia Strait. Darren Blaney, former chief of Hamalco, is leading a canoe across the Georgia Strait from Nanaimo. Oh, wow. And we're hoping that a canoe comes from Tofino. We're trying to get a paddling team, so if anyone here in Clayoquot Sound is a paddler and wants to join us across the water into Vancouver on the 25th of October, please visit SalmonAreSacred.org and come out, stand up for wild salmon. If you want wild salmon and you want the abundance of wild salmon we're seeing with the Fraser River sockeye returns, come out to Vancouver on the 25th of October.
That's actually just kind of to put things in context. I was looking at the SalmonAreSacred.org website, and I like the perspective of the organization of you guys because you refer to the salmon as both obviously an environmental component and the effect that they have on the environment, but you're also very mindful and interested in the economy of it. It's talking about the local communities that are seeing an economic boost from just coming to see the sockeye run and that sort of thing. So I got to say, it's really cool that your organization supports both the economic and that bounty of the salmon and not just environmental angle. There's also a petition on here. Is that something that you have a little bit of involvement in? Or
yes, people can visit our website, SalmonAreSacred.org, and sign the petition. There's also lots of government consultations at the moment on the regulations for aquaculture. And just on your previous point about wild salmon, they're not just a fish. Wild salmon come back in abundance. They fertilize the forests. That's why we have the salmon forests, big tall trees here in Clayoquot Sound and across the BC coast. Wild salmon literally are the backbone of the BC coast. They provide food for bears, eagles, orcas, and also sustain First Nations culture for millennia. First Nations, Indigenous people have depended upon the wild salmon, and that's why communities are up and down the Fraser River, is because of the salmon. Mm-hmm. And then it's not just the First Nations community, it's the coastal communities, the fishermen, the commercial fishermen, the recreational fishermen. And for people who are thinking, the Fraser River and the Cohen Commission is nothing to do with them, think about here in Clayoquot Sound where wild salmon stocks have crashed, they're in crisis. Mm-hmm. A lot of the fish that people have been catching off the west coast here have been destined for the Fraser River. These are Fraser River sockeye. So these Fraser River sockeye don't just sustain Fraser River communities, they sustain communities across the BC coast. All right.
Well, the paddle, you said, is October 10th to the 15th. Do I have those dates right?
October the 20th leaves Hope. We have different nights where we'll be hosted by First Nations communities. We have an event on the 23rd of October, a Saturday, at the Fraser River Discovery Centre, where Finn Donnelly MP will join the flotilla, and then the mass flotilla in Vancouver Harbour and march across Burrard Bridge and rally at the Art Gallery is on Monday the 25th of October.
All right. So if people don't have time for the whole trip, that's the big thing. Monday, the 25th of October, get down there.
Yeah, and we'll have some weekend activities on the 23rd and 24th of October, but please take the day off. Wild salmon sacrifice their lives, their bodies for us, and, the abundance of salmon in the Fraser River shows that wild salmon are resilient. If we put wild salmon first, we can have healthy living coastal ecosystems where wild salmon can sustain First Nations, commercial fishermen, recreational fishermen. And here in Clayoquot Sound UNESCO Biosphere Reserve, we sadly lost that. Wild salmon have crashed. In the Mackenzie Lake, for example, sockeye used to be in the 30,000s, and now very paltry returns. So we can bring the salmon back, and I think if there's one message of the migration, is get those open net cages out of the ocean. There should not be open net cage salmon farms in an UNESCO biosphere reserve such as Clayoquot Sound, for example. So if you want wild salmon and you're prepared to stand up for wild salmon and you want to paddle, come and join us in October.
All right. www.salmonaresacred.org is the website. Don, I understand you got places to be already, so thanks for dropping in. And check out the website and see if you can get involved. All right, that's that. Quick one. It's 20 minutes to 10, and I got a little Guess Who. It kind of fits in pretty well, I think, with what we just chatted about.